Okay.
Yeah.
To everyone in the room and everyone joining us online, thanks for coming. This is our lunch concert / lecture experiment with our AiR artists in residence. Now we also have a pleasure to have a second half of the LP duo today with us, Sonja Lončar. So please welcome LP duo and let's hear some interesting music things from them.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming today, and really, it's a big pleasure being here all those days and speaking with you and working. But it's my special pleasure today also to really announce Sonja Lončar, my friend, my colleague, duo partner. We are working together for almost 20 years or something, but who counts anymore, you know? Today, actually, its idea is to have a bit of our experience that was actually, we started really as a classical trained pianist, and then somehow we made our parallel careers in different artistic disciplines. Always we always had this kind of big idea to search the music, to explore the sounds of the piano, the classical instrument, and we will show you how we did it in the past years and how we actually came to the collaborations with physicists and with scientists, and then how we worked on the pioneering quantum music projects from 2015. Sonja is, besides she's a pianist and a composer, she's also a teacher, professor of chamber music at the Faculty of Musical Art in Belgrade. And she has lots of students there who are also playing mostly in a duo combination, two pianos. So today we will also be very flexible and somehow do it as we play. We will do this talk as we play in a hybrid mode. Yeah. So I will just tell you that Sonja and me, we actually didn't meet at our Faculty of Music Art. We actually met on one radio station in Belgrade, where we were actually doing different music programs, and in that time, that was very nice place to experiment, and we were actually doing there a lot of different musical genres and playing in a different bands, rock and roll and experimental music. And actually, when I met Sonja, she was a big star there, playing in a couple of very famous alternative indie bands.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. And then somehow I think we were actually searching for another particle, you know, to be entangled with. And when we met, that was clear that finally we're going to start playing some of our ideas. And of course, we went to the studies in Germany for 5 years and did a lot of competitions of very classical repertoire for piano duo.
From the beginning, we were actually playing like a classical piano repertoire while studying in Germany, where we finished master and PhD studies on piano duo, which is very important because this kind of PhD studies is not so often in the world. But we wanted that. So we were like playing almost every capital works for piano duo, but actually till 20th century, there are not a lot of pieces written for this kind of ensembles. So after 3-4 years, we were like, okay, now we have to go further to find some new music that is written now. So then we started to play contemporary music, and it was very interesting. We met a lot of interesting composers that were writing for us dedicating their music for us. We played it all around the world. We had this, I want to say, I like to say, like living composers society, that we were joking with them because in that period, the most of the pieces that we were playing were by living composers. And also during the studies in Germany, we went to, I think, over 20 international competitions for piano and for piano duo. And it's really like in sport, you have to practice like 10 to 12 hours, and they are deciding if you're fast enough or if you have emotions that they like. And it's really, from my point of view, really wrong way to express something creative. So we decided to stop going to the competitions in some moment, because it was really feeling wrong. I mean, we got many prizes. We have over 30 international prizes, but it was like, what are we doing? Like we are playing something like trying to be fastest and more most beautiful. I don't know what's happening. So then after many of these competitions came concert in Carnegie Hall, which is a really important point in our career. Of course, this is like every musician is dreaming about that, and we're like, okay, now it's happening. Is this true? And it's very, it was interesting for us because we were like, okay, now it's Carnegie Hall, but what are we going to do next? It's like we get to the point, to some point in our career, but we really wanted to do something else, not just trying to be the best pianist in the world. I mean, that's something else. That's different story from something that we felt in our, I don't know, souls. What do you say? So after this, we decided like, okay, now we have to move on. This is not the only thing that we are going to work, like to be classical trained pianists who are touring around the world and have a lot of concerts, and we play like what are they want to for us to play, like because we got these like proposals like, come here and play, but we want you to play Mendelssohn, Bach, and everything. So we're like, this is not for us. We want to go further. And because, of course, before we met, we both were playing in some different ensembles, experimental music, alternative music, and everything, playing a lot of synthesizers, not only piano. We decided to see what we can do with the knowledge that we had before, only playing like the classical musicians. And then
as Sonja said, so many different projects, but it was somehow, it was not connected to each other. It was always opposite, in a standing in opposite sides. But all the time there was idea to really try to find a way how piano can sound different, And actually, if you look contemporary music of the 20th century, it reminds me on what you do. It reminds me on contemporary physics, and in a way I find a kind of a correlation. It's of course it's like that because that's how civilization is running. We are somehow interconnected, and there is interconnection between everything, as you as a scientist know. So besides classical music, that we are used to, that is old for 300 years, actually in 20th century, it started to happen a lot of different experiments, musical experiments. And one of them that really attracts our notice is it's a famous composer, German composer Stockhausen, who really was changing the shape of the music. And that's actually a post-war, post-Second War art, when after all things that were happening, artists in Germany, they wanted to rebuild, and to rethink the art and to somehow show that not only the bad things were happening, but now let's see what we can do. So Stockhausen was very much experimenting. This is the piece for two.
This is piece for two pianos. So, sorry, for two pianos and for two ring modulators, which are specially and custom made only for this piece. And with these ring modulators, it is kind of like electronic preparation. You amplify piano, then with these ring modulators, is changing harmonics of the piano through the button that each of pianists have.
Yeah.
So it was really like the first time that happened in electronic music that someone is combining acoustic sound of piano with these ring modulators, and the sound that goes out of it is really interesting. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, two amplified pianos are going through these devices that we are controlling, each pianist, and it's really adding, it's modulating the sound of the piano, but it's adding also kind of layers of the sound.
It's actually multiplying the frequencies of acoustic piano, and that's really interesting, because he was doing it, of course, in precise way. Because this piece is like, we have a theme from 12 tones, and it is mathematically calculated to the end of the piece, which is around 65 minutes. And so we actually are hearing the same 12 tones in many waves.
I think that
waves.
There are 12 sections also. So everything about this piece is about 12 tone, music.
12 tones that we have in one scale.
Yeah. So it's also atonal music, but has this kind of layers of the ring modulation, and also pianists are using something called crotals. It's a kind of percussion, you will see. So we will play for you just a bit of it. The recording is old, and but it's
like 15 years.
Just to get the feeling. Yeah, and so on. That was the theme. That was the beginning of the piece. And now when I'm hearing, it's really experimental, and all the memories are coming back, especially when I remember some friends that were coming with, like car mechanics, that are like, I will call you to the concert if my friend is playing, and then, coming to directly first time to Stockhausen. Yeah, it was you know, too experimental. But that was, you know, okay, let's see how the piano can sound, you know, what the two pianos can do more. And actually there we are coming to the, of course, to the John Cage and the preparation of the piano. And actually this was something that was happening before the Stockhausen. It was already in the 40s, you know. And John Cage was a famous American composer who got this idea from his professor, but also he used this because he was composing for a theater, and then he wanted to make a piece for the percussionists, but there was no space, either money to do it, so they had only one piano. And then he started to add this kind of materials inside to put different objects, you know, rubber and screws and I don't know. And then he got really amazing sound, and that was actually the beginnings of going into the piano, because all before people were using piano just playing on the keyboard. And John Cage is not only famous because of that, but he was a guy who actually was famous for the, let's say, music uncertainty, you know. So actually he improvised very much. He didn't want to fix the music, you know. He had graphic notations. He changed the system of the notation, which was classical before, using a lot of improvisation, asking the book of changes, if you know the Chinese book of changes. He was
to compose.
Yeah, he was composing a piece for piano and orchestra, asking the book questions like what the next will be, you know, like so it was really about not being fixed, to have this randomness in a music. And in 2012 we were like experimenting with John Cage music and celebrating his 100-year birthday. And then we played a piece for two pianos called Three Dances.
I must say that we were practicing these pieces without these preparations for like 3-4 months, and they sounded like Mozart or something like that. And then we found the pianos that we can use in that way, and put that preparation, and it was really some new music, and you will hear now.
Yes,
how it
some of you already knew.
Yeah, but we were surprised because we were practicing it at home on pianos like this, which are not good for this kind of preparation. And it's nice, and it's like some, I don't know, neoclassical music, but then
happens this. Yeah.
Yes.
And so on. Yeah. Now,
but I must say, so sorry, that this preparation is not a random one. It's really, he wrote every position and every kind of material that we had to put inside the strings, and preparation for this piece was like, I don't know, 3-4 hours. We needed to really find the right tones that we needed. crazy.
Yeah, but then
But
you
really,
you
really.
you know you have like something completely different with two pianos, you know, and that's what we wanted really to feel how we can play pianos in a different mode. But then, okay, we did it.
Let's
What
do
what to
something
what
else.
to do next? So it was always, you know, stepping, you know, to unknown, doing something there, and then okay, let's go to the next step.
So next step was actually playing synthesizers. Of course, synthesizers that we played before we met a lot in these different kinds of projects. So we're like thinking, let's try to make some transcriptions of classical and contemporary music for analog synths. Analog synths are synthesizers from 70s and 80s, really interesting instruments where you have to make a sound, not just put the button and play. You have to really make it with oscillators and everything. And it was very interesting for us to search new sounds. I don't know, to connect also acoustic piano, but with these completely new sounds, and to maybe try to make some interesting mix. And it was interesting. Okay, this now slide. So this slide is actually about some small history of synthesizers. This one on the first row on the left is the first synthesizers from 19th century. I don't know if I didn't know that really, like maybe 10 years ago, I was like, okay, first synthesizer was in 19th century, and it was worked on steam power, and it had 12 electromagnetic generators, and it was like 200 tons. So it was really, really heavy and heavy to play, and it was almost impossible to play something fast, or it was like working the tone by tone. But and it's interesting that it was used telephone receivers as a means of transmitting sound, and it's, I mean, it's 19th century, really great for that. And this other one in the first row right was like the second, the next generation of synthesizers, which was very important for the other ones. It was before Second World War in Berlin. This was the instrument working with strings and metal plates, and it had a sound more like a guitar or some strings. But it was interesting because it was used for many of movies that we watched, like Hitchcock, The Birds, or something like that, and used for sound effects also. But it was very important because it was really something new in this electronic history of music. After that,
this one looks as a quantum computer, yeah, for me.
Yeah, this is American first synthesizer called Mark I, and it also had 12 oscillators. As you can see, number 12 is very important for us because it's 12 tones that we need to play, and it has 12 oscillators and with electronic tubes to generate these chromatic scales. So, but it was, as you can see, really big.
But of course, when you say we need 12 tones, that of course it's about the Western tradition and well tempered tradition of the tuning the things. But then we can also always think about, you know, using noise as a part of the music. That's another story, another topic also, you know.
Yes, that's that we would need much more time to go there. And then came these analog synthesizers, first made by Robert Moog. There is a rumor that one of his famous filters are made by mistake, but we are not sure about that. But who knows? This his specific sound actually was made like he made something wrong. I don't know how. So the first Moog synthesizers were looking like this, and they were really big and only were supposed to use in studio. And then he decided, okay, I have to make it in a small version. So then came this one, Poly Moog and Mini Moog, the ones that we are using and playing, and similar to them. So that are the things that we really like. So as you can see, you have to really make with all these buttons. You choose an oscillator, and you are like drawing like a wave. Like you imagine some sound which is like flat line, and then with this button you really make it playing.
Yeah, actually you have a sine wave by electric power. You have a sine wave, and then from sine wave you are with different oscillators and filters making different waves, and that's, you know, but you cannot save that. That's, you know, you each time you come to the synthesizer you must make this again. So it makes also musicians very skillful in playing these synths. For example, there is a famous guy, Brian Eno, the composer, and like he's the guy who know all the setups of his, you know, synthesizers from 70s, and he can, you know, in the minute just come and make it, you know, and that's his biggest skill, of course. But just to say, for this one, the version before, for example, famous rock and roll band Emerson, Lake and Palmer, they were touring with this one. So Emerson was playing that one synthesizer live. But all these cables that you see and all these things that are patches, different patches, and actually that you are connecting to make some kind of a sound, you know. So, you know, you needed a lot of time to, you know, come and figure out. And then, of course, with the portable, you know, Mini Moog, you know,
easier.
Yeah, and this one actually is very famous in the history of music. So Bob Marley used it, Kraftwerk, all different musicians from different genres use this one synthesizer. It's also today, if you go to eBay, you will find probably, but it's very expensive, you know, because it has a wonderful sound. Sorry, Sonja, just I added.
I don't know what I want to say. Maybe we were speaking. And as you can see, we have the similar things that we are using. This one that you can see is Korg. It's some kind of version of this Mini Moog, but I prefer it most because of the sound that it makes. And then this Juno and everything. But maybe we can play a few minutes from our that phase that we were mixing acoustic piano with analog synths. Yeah,
so, you know, of course, that was the story. Actually, we used analog synths first as a keyboardist in different bands, but when we got together, we were like thinking to combine synthesizers sound with pianos, and then we play not like rock music and everything, but to play classical music, contemporary and classical music. And to arrange pieces for this kind of a formation, but also some composers wrote for us, like Danish composer Kim Helveg, who's
and one Dutch composer as well, Giel Mering, also wrote for us for this kind of arrangement.
Just to see now this kind of a formation for two pianos and synthesizers. We will go on because the time is running fast. So that was the phase, you know, with synths.
But then what was the problem with playing these old synths, because they were always not working. So when we prepare something, most of the time we had to improvise a lot because they were like not working because they're old. And also these plastic keyboards that are on these old synths are actually not made to play something so virtuosic. So it's not easy to play so fast on this kind of plastic keyboards. It was made for like pop music and only some like few chords and maybe some solo and that's it. So what we were thinking, okay, now we connected the sound that we like, the sound of the synthesizers and the sound of piano, but now it's not working in that way.
Let's move on. Let's see what is next.
So we were thinking to create a new instrument, so we can use these kind of synthesizer sounds, but to play it through the keys of the piano, because of course, as a classical trained pianist, the piano is for us the only instrument that we can really show what we what we can do. So we decided to make hybrid piano. This is like on this picture we can see the first prototype. It was built with magnetic sensors with 88 sensor each for one key that is controlling the movement of the key. So it is measuring the movement of the key and transmitting that to digital signals. So using this velocity or movement of the key, we get the velocity for transposing it to MIDI signal. So through the keys of piano, we could play really any sound. We can play any sound, any light, everything that can be MIDI signal. So this was the first one. It was about the keys, but we had a problem with that because it was a contact sensor. So while we were playing it like too fast or too loud, it was I don't know,
moving a bit.
It was moving a bit. So then we made another prototype. It was going under the keys, and it was also really good, but also not working because of pressuring the keys. These magnetic sensors had a lot of problem, and then we came out with this new prototype version that we brought here to show you. Maybe I don't know if there is the other one.
You can just move a bit, and then people can see. So
this is the newest prototype.
The one that is still in the developing phase.
Yes, it has also each sensor for each key, and it's optical sensors, actually infrared sensors that we are using. And it's really interesting because we made it really light in 4 pieces. So I brought it here on my hand luggage, which is really nice. So and it is adjustable to any piano. You just put it on keys and make calibration, and it's working. Mix this synthesizer sounds with piano sounds, and you can really make a lot with that. And at the end, for us, it's important that we do it with piano keys, because that's how we really can play fast enough.
No,
yes.
Yeah, that's
not just fast, but like to have a feeling which is really better than this small synthesizer and plastic keys that we were annoying.
Yes. One of the things is the kind of course, thinking as a performers, but another thing is thinking as a composers. It gives us a lot of probabilities to combine the sound of the acoustics and now the digital synthesizers, so VST synthesizers from the computer. And in a way, if you if you think about how John Cage prepared the piano with those objects, so this is kind of our preparation of the piano with electro stuff, you know, with
maybe
with
some
mechanism.
variation of
Yeah.
Stockhausen's electronic
Yeah.
preparation, but this is
in a technology way. So that gives us many possibilities to make our own sound in a way of a sound itself and also artistically. So we will show you a bit of that later, because we will now tell you a bit about the quantum music project we're doing very fast. And
a few minutes.
Yeah. So actually, you know, that was our kind of a superposition now, you know, all these collaborations with the scientists and with the engineers, you know, and in way producing, building this instrument. But also in 2015, we get in touch with Vlatko Vedral, quantum physicist from Oxford University, and together with him and Klaus Molmer later, we started the quantum music project with first idea, it was to just somehow present to the people some basic phenomena of the quantum world, but also to experiment with the sound. And when Vlatko and Dragan Novkovic, who was our a sound engineer, when they collide, they figure out that there is a kind of search in the field of acoustics, and that is happening on the Bose-Einstein experiment. So when Klaus came from the Aarhus University, he actually opened possibilities to take these data for the Bose-Einstein experiment and sending into Dragan. Dragan was changing that using additive synthesis, one kind of principle of sonification, and he was delivering us kind of sounds and sound samples that we could work with it. So making a bank of samples. And that was, of course, one part of this project. The other part was actually multimedia concept of LP Duo, inspired by the quantum world and work with scientists. And this project really had a nice. We were traveling around Europe and Asia also, and presenting this new music for two hybrid pianos.
And we were using a lot of these sounds that we got from these experiments. So maybe we will not have time. Okay.
Yeah, I apologize.
Okay, but so our show was consists of 8 chapters that we were working with Vlatko Vedral, quantum physicist, for this. So first chapter was about quantum vacuum. So it was interesting for us because for this project we had 2 identical instruments who could represent 2 quantum particles and their relationship. So it was like the basic idea of what we were doing with him for this show. So second chapter was collapse, which was which maybe we can play a few minutes of that. It was interesting. We were using this quantum sound, but made with arpeggiator, which was like the rhythm of the piece. And in the middle section of the piece, maybe we can play that part. You will see we have a projection and like observer show is a human eye. In the back projection is trying to capture or localize the particles projected on the front. It was very interesting to see in a music hall like this. And we are improvising because it was really random like what was happening with these sounds. It was not everything prepared, and it was interesting maybe because of that. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, these are real sounds came from the experiments that we were playing, and it's very interesting.
I think
Sorry.
we can just a bit
Yeah, we
go
can go-
on
just go on.
and have enough time for questions. So if you
Yeah.
can just go through some more
Through
things, and then
some-
we can finish with teleportation.
Yes, then after this, it was a chapter about double slit experiment, then duality chapter, which was important for us to present this what we are doing. And then it was one interesting chapter called Bose-Einstein condensate. We were trying to, to illustrate the laboratory conditions at the stage, but in, of course, humorous way, because it was not possible to do it like for real. So we were setting two tasks, like questions for Bose-Einstein condensate while playing on hybrid pianos, and then it was answering us with real quantum sounds that we actually got from laboratories from Vlatko Vedral and Klaus Wolder.
I can play
and
this.
it was
I can play
funny,
this.
but it was interesting because not every, in audience, like maybe 99% of the audience didn't know anything about quantum physics, and maybe we were thinking like if like one of them goes home and maybe Google some of these of these that we try to show them, then we did something good for understanding maybe our world. I don't know. so
Yeah, I will play just a bit.
yeah, okay. So
Is a quantum network that makes the contact with the quantum world, which will be established with the help of Bose-Einstein condensate, which is the coldest place in the universe. With their hybrid pianos, LP Duo will send signals from our world into the quantum world, and it remains to be seen how the quantum world will respond. LP Duo will now play a few tunes from Michael Nyman's score for the piano to start this unusual dialogue. Let's see how the quantum world will respond. Could we please have your attention? 5, 2, 1.
Okay.
So this is the Michael Nyman theme from the piano concerto, you
But
know,
playing with
and the
this-
famous movie from 1994. So
Yes.
played with the, you know, these
With
sounds that we
rhythm.
were getting from the experiments. So I think, you know, maybe we can if finish with the last chapter, you know. Actually, the last chapter was about the teleportation, and just we will play a bit of our alter ego, another alter ego that is called LP Electro. It's a kind of synth dance music
Synth pop or
that
something.
we just use for the final concert, like trying to escape actually, or to be somewhere else, you know, in artistic way, you know. So moving from the pianos to some other imaginary place of LP Electro. So we will play a bit for you, and then we can, you know, then we can just talk. And it's curious. Yeah, this is the one. And so on. So
I saw.
later from the quantum music project, and after that we really start to compose a lot for hybrid pianos, but also we did a LP Electro album, and that was published for Universal Music. And yes, so yeah, thank you for listening and being here, and thank you, Sonja, for sharing all the days and years before, and thank you for your talk. And yes.
So if anyone has a question here or
Yeah.
online.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, there-
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can zoom this. So,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
please,
is.
please, yeah.
Do you think more composers are going towards this hybrid instrument space? Like, I know there are a few young composers, I think,
Yeah.
like Niels Fram.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Right.
like couch cars, it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you
Yeah.
think that's like, that's becoming bigger and bigger? Or
Yeah,
is it just
I
a
think
phase?
so. I think so because and you got the really good names, yeah, and that's the musicians we really respect and like. There's also one guy called David August. So these are the musicians who are actually trying to really put together like traditional and contemporary and modern music. So I think more and more of this will happen and is happening. It just depends, like, the quality of that music. So you have now, like in the 70s, that it was a lot of new genres, because the music industry really was growing up, and getting bigger. And now also because of the technology, people are making music, a lot of people are making music, and music is a field really of great expression of creativity. But then you have, just a lot of things that are not good combinations. So, but you're right, Niels Fram and Hauschka and many other people are just. I think there is a big piano scene of a new classical music, new independent music, because before piano was more reserved for the academic world and for the people that were finishing music academies. And today, more and more people are just
They're playing it.
they're
Yeah.
just playing
Just
it,
like-
and they're really good in that,
Mm.
So they're out of the box, especially in the classical music. But thank you, yeah, Niels Fram, definitely great musician.
Yeah, yes.
Mm.
So if that's not,
Can I ask you, so this residence that you're doing here for a couple months?
Yeah.
What are you hoping to get from us, basically? How should this collaboration maybe help
It's-
you or and like? for
It's
your
really,
music?
it's really a good question, and it's already happening because I really appreciate your experience, I appreciate your knowledge, and it's unbelievable how actually working with you and coming with you together with you and listening for you is already shaping and somehow changing the music me and Sonja also are doing. So coming to the data and to your kind of not only interpretation of the sound, we can find different ways. We are finding analogies, but we are also like doing some experiments so with Southern Hotel, we did, we recorded sound of the experiment he was doing, or and then using that as a starting point, or also with Margaret, from bioscience, she was, we were going to the from genetic code, thinking about and explaining us about the genetic code, we came to something called very interesting called holiday junction, which is can be really nicely put in the piece of music, or with Elishka and Difne, which is great combination and idea to connect bionanoscience and QTech and quantum nanoscience. So we are trying to take their data, and we did it, for example, these days, and to sonificate, to put it in the sound. But not only that, because at the end we are the artists, and we really like to put our music in and to make a music of that, not to be artificial, as we are talking with almost all of you. It's, if you just take the data and make the sound, okay, that there is a sound, but it's.
but what to do with it?
But what is next? We want some music. We want to share some music together and to have some emotions and to go on. That's about art. So I'm really grateful, and please be open and come or write me and be here. And I'm grateful to be in your company. And already the things that it's unbelievable how actually if you put. When you change the environment, it affects you so much. So the language we are now doing and that you will see on the 21st of April, it's already different from what we did before. And I'm looking forward, I don't want to open it so much now because, you know, we are still in the process of the work, but we are very open and for the talks, and also I hope we can somehow a bit inspire you, you know, that hopefully, I don't know, I cannot guarantee, but hopefully it will happen. And thank you for that, you know.
I was wondering, did you ever went back to John Cage and use the hybrid piano to generate like John Cage kind of sound?
That would be interesting. That we didn't like still did go this reverse reverse, but it is doable, of course. It can be interesting, maybe to present John Cage, but with hybrid, not with this. It would be easier at the end. Because,
We were just talking about John Cage before you came. Like, it would be nice to do something again like that. But then, you know, it's a great what you said, actually, going somehow to the past. And Klaus Molnar was explaining us kind of idea of the particles, I think, moving through the past and the future. I don't know exactly what to say. But then, you know, I felt actually like that when I was at Scheveningen. I just, you know, really at the beach, I had a strange feeling like I'm in some better past. And that's something that just came to me, you know. And then I thought about this, you know, what Klaus explained. And that was, wow, yeah. So Margaret, I think your idea is very nice, you know, how to, you know, use from now for the experience we have now, you know, to go back and see what we can do with that. Yeah, that could be a nice idea to combine, you know. Thank you.
Sorry, maybe another question that now that you said the thing about the particle traveling in the past and in the future, I know that this is like a bit of an out of the box interpretation of quantum mechanics, and so you know, there's a lot of different interpretations of quantum mechanics, and we're normally just concerned with the standard one where the wave function collapse upon observation and everything. Have you thought about maybe, I don't know, as an idea, taking some other types of interpretations and seeing how, for example, that could I don't know, influence your music? I don't know, just throwing out a
yes.
an idea.
You mean some different interpretations from that one we are?
So well, I mean,
Yeah.
It's a longer story. So like a many worlds interpretation. So there's like basically the way, like the physics, or we understand quantum mechanics these days as with the standard or Copenhagen interpretation, we call it. But there's other people out there that believe that this is kind of not true, or that actually we know the mathematics and we know what we measure, but the reality behind it is kind of a different one.
It's hard to explain. That's what we're always talking about. It's probably similar to art, you know, in that way. It's hard to explain art in words, you know. It's hard to explain these phenomena. You know, you're always searching some metaphor that we can, because we still live in, you know, we live three-dimensional, you know. And it's hard to go beyond that in everyday life. But yes, the answer is yes. We are very open, and actually, I'm always, you know, just trying to, from all those, you know, meetings to really have a feeling what is important for you, and somehow that we can, you know, together from our talk and meeting, put something together, just put something into the idea or the piece of art. And that I feel really, you know, that's the kind of a process we can do. And we can, of course, use different, if you have some idea, or if you like to we can speak and maybe see some other interpretation that you think it's for you important, that it would be pleasure, you know. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I can say that we're talking now about how you
Yeah,
what you try to get out of this stage.
that's right.
But it's a two-way thing.
That's right.
You're getting something out of it.
Yeah,
And I was struck during our discussions that at some point you asked me, how does the electromagnetic interaction sound?
yeah,
And I said, well, I can calculate it for you. I can calculate one and two atoms. And he said, no, that's too technical.
Yeah.
How does it sound?
yeah, yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? And then I started thinking, how am I inspired by it? How does it feel to me? And it forced me to, open a different side of my brain.
Yeah.
And that's what only you guys can do.
Yeah.
That's something that is
Yeah.
really quite nice.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you so much, and I know how much you are into jazz
Yeah.
and how you how you are good into jazz. But that's also how I feel, and I think how we feel. It's just when we are sitting together, it's just like my brain is, going to, I don't know, I'm trying to crack, to make a crack of your program, and to go into it. And sometimes it just happens, I go home and then, and something's happened. I'm not sure, I was sleeping enough this month, and I also said that to you, because of the sensations and the information that I was getting from you, but I appreciate what you said, because I think that's the idea, how to somehow open up our imagination and to try to see with the different eyes. And I think that's the good start.
I noticed that in the videos that you showed, that there was often also a degree of visualization of concepts. Is that something that you intend to do this time as well, or is that the first step?
I think this time we will reduce it. We will keep it more simple. We will use lights and sounds. I am not sure we will use a lot of video, because even the visuals that you are guys making and producing, your experiments are beautiful. But I think it's now it's important to be on the sound, to be there in this sound that we will create, and to have this kind of really just listen. I think also, even if we started to change, because when we started to play professionally, we were trying to set different scene designs, so we started to use videos and different ideas how to present the music. But I think these days, especially, we are too much on the screens.
Actually, we are going back in that way, like only sound. Because if there is a lot of it going on, maybe you don't hear it well. So now we are in that phase. We will see what will happen next.
So maybe a little
Maybe
pause from, and we had 2 years of just screen all the time. I think we should sit and listen, and I'm so happy that we can be together in this hall, just at a live concert, There can be, I think, 100 people, hopefully. Now that would be wonderful, So we are coming back to some experiences that are now unusual, like
having concerts.
Having a concert tomorrow. Like I haven't visited some concert for a long time. But you never know. Maybe something just come and then okay. Sorry, yours there will be, but just fun video.
No.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yes. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Agnieszka. And I'm always, I'm always being very brave, starting to explain the science. But of course, you understand that I can do it because I'm in this very abstract position of the artist, so I can really talking.
So you can
And
say
will-
whatever you want.
Yeah, you will forgive me, you know,
Like-
so that's
You're
nice.
like a crazy artist, so
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
mind.
That's what you said. You know.
Okay.
So thank you very, very much for coming. Thank you, Helen and Tanit, for organizing this. Thank you, Alicia, for hosting us. And thank you all for you know, all the talks we had, and really looking forward for more. And please be free and come and hear or just write me. I'm looking forward for everything. The time is passing so fast. So,
Yes.
We should go backwards in the sun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.